Welcome to Manhwa Recaps, spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. Huge shout out and special thanks to the channel members. The series starts with a boy saying that he's here again, and that it feels a little melancholic. As he looks up to see a floating island covered in smoke, and that he's nicknamed it the Smoke Sky Island. It has ruined Western-style buildings, and it's as if no life had ever existed here at all. He spots something, and as he gets a better look, he sees a human shadow, and a man in a firm voice tells him to go ahead and come down, as he shall wait for him at the edge of the abyss. As his eyes begin glowing, the boy feels some kind of jolt as he wakes up. Covered in sweat, he is panting, saying that he can't believe he had that weird dream again. And we finally learn that his name is Sora, as he gets told to wake up. He says that he feels like he knows that man from his dream, and the abyss as well. As he's brushing his teeth, he wipes the mirror, and is confused as he sees his eyes watering up. He wonders if maybe he's been studying too much lately or something, and his dad exits the shower, seeing him getting ready for school. His dad starts ruffling his hair, asking if he overslept the day, and he tells him to stop treating him like a kid since he's already 15. His dad then starts flexing his body. Sora then starts grabbing for the mouthwash, and he tells his father that if they didn't live in such a tiny apartment, he wouldn't have to see him naked every day. His father says that when he gets rich, he'll let him live in a bigger house, and he and Riku can have their own rooms. He says that he's been saying that for 5 years now, and his father laughs, saying that life has become a lot easier after Riku had joined the self-defense force. Sora explains that it's been 3 years since his brother has joined the SDF, and the future himself, and then it'll be time for him to say goodbye to this lively life, to his dad who jokes around a lot and is unreliable, and to his mother who comes off as strict but loves them all very much, and that it's comforting to him that they're here. As they go to eat together, the entire apartment building begins shaking violently, and they wonder if it's an earthquake. Sora says that he had always known this peaceful life would come to an end one day, but what he didn't expect was for the way it ended. As we see a giant shadow begin to loom over their apartment building, a tower has formed up from under the ground, piercing straight into the sky, as the tower has now come upon humanity. Sora says that this has to be a joke, and him at this time did not know just how much the appearance of that tower would change the history of mankind as fighter jets were deployed to check it out. But there was something that he did understand, and that was that this tower was somehow connected to his dreams. He could feel it. We then see them on the phone with his brother Riku, who says that it's alright, and that he'll just have to follow the SDF's instructions, then he can return home soon. His brother says that he promises, but with a very weak voice. The family starts feeling stressed out, and Sora says that night is the night that he lost contact with his brother, and the news said that there would be no problems as long as people stayed home. But it was not long until the news also began to stop broadcasting, as the towers began popping up everywhere around the world. And now the same information is being played over and over on the radio that they need to evacuate to a shelter. And this was the order they were given. As they start packing their belongings, his mother left a note for their brother, telling him where they were going. As they began making their trek there, they saw so many things along the way, and Sora says that it seemed to be hinting at something. Soldiers were constantly passing by in their vehicles, and they all had expressions of pure despair on their faces, and their vehicles were covered in horrible marks. And inside came the disgusting smell of decay. His father asks what's going on in the world, and they finally make it to the temporary evacuation shelter, which is a gymnasium. The shelters were packed with refugees, yet hardly anybody spoke at all. It was as if everybody was just waiting for their deaths. His father tells him to keep moving, but even in this silence, there were people who did make trouble, and they were doing everything they could to let their presence be known. As we see a guy grabbing a kid's hand, telling him to give him back his bread, and the kid says the guy already ate his as he points to it in his pocket. He then knees the kid straight in the gut. As people start ignoring the situation, the guy laughs after taking the kid's food, and he says that he's not full yet, and it's surely okay if he takes the bread. The kid, in a pained voice, says it is, and the guy says that until the situation comes to an end, his bread is his. That it'd only be for a few days, and it's not like he's going to die. The kid begins crying, until Sora's dad puts his hand on the guy's shoulder, asking what he's doing in the situation. The guy tells him to worry about himself instead, and Sora's father tells him to give the kid back his bread already. The dude rears back his fist, telling him to shut the hell up, but Sora's dad instantly comes in with a kick to the guy's head, knocking him down onto the floor. Sora's dad gives him the bread, and the kid thanks him. The guy then starts to insult him, only for him to get glared at. The guy clicks his tongue, realizing he can't do anything, and walks away saying that he will remember this. Sora then calls out to his father, and his father tells him not to worry, as he'll keep an eye on that guy. Sora says that even in death, he will not forget that man. As he looks afraid, we learn that his name is Eiji Kagawa, and he's a real piece of shit who took pleasure in bullying Sora throughout his school life. He never caught a break. A man then runs into the shelter, saying that this is an emergency message. Everybody must exit the shelter through the back and get into one of the trucks ASAP. The civilians start asking why. The man says this is confidential, but he apologizes because he can't say. They ask if this is really true, and say first people can't leave their homes for 2 days straight, and then they have to evacuate to a place like this, yet they still say nothing at all. The guy starts getting frustrated, asking what he's even paying his taxes for. We then hear weird banging sounds, and the soldier looks terrified. The soldier says that they're here, and everybody needs to quickly run. The guy asks what he means, and Sora takes the initiative, pushing his father and mother towards the exit. He says that he has a really bad feeling about what's going to happen. The soldier starts putting his hands on the door to block it, saying that he can't stop them for longer, so they need to get into the vehicles immediately. The door gets kicked open as we see a group of armored enemies burst into the room, instantly slaughtering the soldier, filling the room with their laughter, deafening the civilian screams. Sora still wonders what the hell is happening. We see Sora lagging behind as the monsters are now further into the room. His parents turn, seeing him right before they get on the truck. And everybody's still running over as fast as they can, boarding into the back of the trailers. Sora tells his parents that it obviously can't carry any more people, and they need to get on first as he helps them both up. His dad grabs onto his arm, not wanting to leave his son behind, but the other people in the truck say it's already full, and if he's just going to mess around, then he needs to get off. Sora realizes that they are about to kick his parents off, so he must do something, and he decides to run away, saying that he'll get on a different truck. The next one he finds is full, and so is the one after that too. Until he finally finds one at the very end, and he sees someone else instantly get into it. He starts to climb up and is struggling as someone sticks their hand out forward. Sora thanks him, and then the dude begins laughing, asking if he's really saying that in this situation. Sora looks scared, and we see it's none other than Eiji saying that he's glad he came here on his own, and Sora wonders why it had to be him of all people. Eiji then throws him off the truck, saying that he should die in his dad's place, calling him a piece of trash. As he starts to fall over onto the ground, he says that it's over. The civilians start trampling over him, and he says that he doesn't want to die yet. He curls up into the fetal position and holds onto his head, and he begs for somebody to please help him. He starts to see the silhouette of someone standing in front of him, and it's the guy from his dream. Sora recognizes him. The guy again with his eye glowing tells him that he's going to be waiting for him at the edge of the abyss. Sora then opens his eyes in an unfamiliar area, wondering if it was all just a dream just now. But better yet, where he is. We see a weapon raised into the air, and it strikes down right in front of his head. His eyes instantly fill with dread as we see a goblin went in for the kill. Sora now running, asking where his parents are and why he's the only person here, saying that he might be in hell, wondering if he's dead. The goblin throws his axe at him, cutting his cheek. Sora sees some debris on the ground, but still is panicking, asking why the monster won't leave him alone, and he realizes that he has no choice but to try to fight. As the goblin starts to run in, Sora makes a mad dash directly towards the rocks. He tries collecting his thoughts as well, saying that the tower appeared out of nowhere, Eiji threw him from the truck, and then he met the mysterious old dude, and now he's here about to be turned into this goblin's little dumpster. But he can't put aside this feeling of rage he has, and he starts screaming while holding onto the rock, charging at the goblin, and we don't get to see it, but he off-screens it, saying that he has survived. Up close, he says this looks like something straight out of a game, and he wonders what's next, and he wonders what's with this black text on its chest, saying that it might be its rank, and we see it has the Roman numeral of 1. The ground then begins shaking, causing him to panic more. As a black crystal starts to come out from the goblin's chest, Sora looks down at it and wonders what's going on as its bones are also now a purple color, and it starts floating out. Directly in front of his chest now, Sora starts to get a weird feeling as it shoots straight through his sternum, and he wonders if this is a bad thing, but lightning starts to form from the scar on his cheek, and as his wounds are healing, he says that's not the only thing, but he also feels much stronger, and he wonders if he leveled up just like he would in a game. He grabs the goblin's weapon, saying that there might be more of these things on this island, and it would be better to scout around so he doesn't get jumped. As he goes all around the island, he says that he ended up doing a full lap, but there were no monsters or paths that he could take. He looks off towards some ruins, saying that if he wants out, this is his only option. As we see some stairs leading down to the bottom of the island, he walks over towards them and looks scared as he leans over the edge. He says that it's just like the Smoky Sky Islands from his dreams, and this looks really bad. He slowly makes his way from step to step, saying in games terrain like this is prime monster territory, and they might be waiting around the cliff to bump him off, and he would respawn if it was just a game, but he's not going to test whether or not he can respawn. Finally, he says that he made it as he sees the end of the stairs leading into an entrance. He slowly peers inside as he makes his way in while being cautious. There is a lit torch in front of him and some kind of text below it on a tablet. Sora says that he has never seen characters like this before, yet they just seem to be flowing into his brain. It reads, "The fragments belong to the bearers. By acquiring all of them, one shall earn the right to leave the abyss." He says that means he must be in the abyss, and he has to collect all of the fragments to get out of here. He smiles, saying that at least he has an actual goal. Now he actually feels pretty motivated, since it's clear what he must do. Thinking about it calmly, the monster he fought wasn't even that strong, and as he starts to go to the next area, he says that he's sure that he'll be able to handle what they throw at him next. As he pushes through the gates, he sees a bright light, and he says that the first layer of the abyss was an area of 900 square meters. The number that was carved onto the monster's body was 1. The second layer was 1,800 square meters, and one of the monsters had 2 carved into it, as we see wolves. The third layer was 3,600 square meters, and of the 4 monsters, which were these little snakes, had a 3 on it. The fragments are only in the bodies of the monsters bearing numbers. These fragments are the key to enter the next tier, and the higher the number, the stronger the monster becomes. I wish we didn't get this montage sequence, but instead, it was a little more fleshed out. But he says that there's something more concerning. The area doubles in size every single time he goes up, just like how the number of monsters double as well. As we see this time, he has killed some bear monsters, but it's not like he's not following along, as he is getting stronger with each and every passing stage, this time slamming his fist into the back of a giant monster's head, killing it. As he ascended the layers, the variety of monsters continued to increase, with each and every new area that he unlocked. On the 12th floor, he encountered the monsters that attacked the shelter that day, but now they were no longer a match for him, as he effortlessly destroyed every one of them, and that there are so many monsters, and his senses have begun to go numb. The 13th layer has 4,000 monsters, the 14th has 16,000, the 21st has over 1 million, and so on, and he is just straight speedrunning each and every layer. When he got to the 30th floor, the number of monsters had reached 500 million. Finding the keys was like finding a needle in a haystack. But, with pure dedication and ripping apart every single monster, he made do. Some of the key-bearing monsters were protected by groups of monsters, while others hid in small caves, but the most annoying thing above all was that the amount of time it took for him to kill every single enemy gradually began to wear down on him, as we see him leaping, fighting an absolute unit, and then a giant demon centipede-like monster. He continued his conquest of each and every single floor, leaving nothing behind, because he had to continue forward. As he walks into the next layer, he is on the 42nd one, and the number of monsters on the 42nd floor was more than 2 trillion that he had to comb through. Sora begins laughing like a maniac and saying that this is the shit. Now we are on a whole new floor as there are dragons soaring above. He wonders what year it is, but says rather the concept of time no longer matters to him, as here there is only death and massacre, and he is the only thing that shall remain, as he is marking the monsters he's slain on the wall. He hears the sound of footsteps and turns, seeing monsters approaching him. And he says the cycle never ends, the monsters approach him, trying to kill him, but instead, they get massacred, and he clears the floor, one after the other, slowly but surely making his way deeper into the abyss. As we see him carrying the monster's head directly from its spine, he asks how many monsters does this even make, but decides that he'll just continue marking, saying that it's about time that he finds the key. His brand new chalkboard gets destroyed, sending the debris flying out everywhere, which surprises him. As a giant centipede from hell appears directly in his face, Sora says that sure was one hell of an entrance, and he asks if maybe this is the key. As it starts to attack towards him, he dashes off the ground, breaking the sound barrier multiple times and says no matter how strong it is, it's all the same to him at this point. As he effortlessly rips it apart, he says even the monsters who think they are strong die in one single hit, and he doesn't even have to put in the slightest amount of effort to kill them. As that's another thing that's lost all meaning, such as time, power holds nothing to him. The monsters did not scale as well as he did, and he starts to get pissed, asking where the hell is the 42nd layer's key, telling it to come out already and fight him as he's had enough of this. I wonder how many of the trillion monsters he has killed. We then get yet another recap of how 20 towers suddenly appeared across the world, and before humanity could make sense of them, monsters poured out and nearly wiped everything out of existence. Most people were slaughtered, and that day became known as Judgment Day. A handful of its survivors awakened to gain access to a mysterious system. And it would awaken them, giving them combat stats. Those who awakened were granted overwhelming power. Human society was rebuilt, and the awakened founded hunters' guilds. After that, we don't get to see what happens yet, as Sora is chasing after a wolf, telling it to wait because he's trying to see what's on it. He is then surprised as he sees some chains wrapping around the wolf, and he hears somebody saying that he just used an advanced transfer scroll, and they can't let that summon go through. Sora recognizes the speech as human, and sees the wolf floating up into the sky towards a magic circle. Sora wonders if that's an exit, and thinks about it, saying if this is an exit, this is his only way out. He crouches down, and bursts straight up towards where the wolf is flying. It starts giving him a warning, as abyssal summoning is unable to transfer more than 2 living beings. It happens over and over, and Sora says that he won't let anybody get in his way, and he locks in, finding the wolf, dashing straight towards it. Back to Earth now, in a graveyard we see a girl panicked, running away. Why the hell is she in heels? She says that she has to shake them off quickly, and we are introduced to Usonozaki. Her foot gets stuck in a vine, and she starts to fall face first into the dirt, and lets out a scream. Again, why the hell is she in heels? She says that this is bad, and she starts sweating nervously, and someone else says what a pain, and they tell her to just hand over the advanced transfer scroll already, as she is getting parked. The druid is named Ika, a level 34, and the mage says that a level 60 scroll isn't something a level 19 like her can handle. The swordsman Choji, level 35, tells her to hand it over, or else he won't show her any mercy. Ika tells him not to kill her, and Sonozaki says that hunter-on-hunter combat is forbidden, and they are breaking the rules. The barbarian level 38, whose name is Shosei, asks what she means by rules, and licks his lips, saying that he makes the rules here, and stabs his sword directly in front of her face. He tells her to give them the scroll, and he might let her keep all of her limbs. She says that they shouldn't corner her any further, and Ika realizes that she is going to use the summon scroll, telling them to stop her. Shosei starts to get pissed, calling her a bitch, and he swings his sword towards her, saying to hand over the scroll already. We see his sword only come into contact with the ground, as she is teleported out of it. Sonozaki says that if she's going to die, she might as well drag them with her, and she begins to activate the scroll. They say it's a forced summon, and Ika says that no one can control an advanced monster that's dragged in like this, and they're done for. They do their best to try to charge in to stop her, and Sonozaki says that they're going to die with her. As lightning starts to form in the sky, swirling down, striking directly in front of her, starting to open the rift for summoning. They all begin to sweat nervously, saying that this isn't looking good for them. As the beam gets brighter and brighter, we see the chains from the abyss start to flash into the ground. And they say that it finally appeared, as we see it's only a level 3 Cerberus. They start laughing, saying they really were scared of this, and they throw it a bone, calling it cute. Sonozaki wonders why this is all that came out of her summon scroll, only for a hand to burst through it, as Sora appears ripping the monster in half, sending it flying. They start freaking out, saying that he's a humanoid monster, and Sonozaki looks up, scared as well, and Sora says that he finally made it out. He starts screaming with laughter, saying that he can't believe he actually managed to escape that place. He continues laughing as they all watch. Shosei says that just hearing that laughter made his whole body freeze up. Aika as well asks who the hell this is because his pressure is no joke. Sora notices her, then approaches her, moving insanely fast to the point that he leaves his afterimages. He starts to smile while looking down at her, then grabs her shoulders asking if this is Earth. She says of course it is, and he says that he's finally returned. Then he asks if they're all cosplayers or something, and they for some reason charge directly at him, telling him not to underestimate the Tiger's Roar Guild and go to attack him. Shosei and Choji's blades break on mere contact with Sora's back. He turns pissed, and Shosei calls him a monster. Sora stares at him, and the word monster starts echoing in his head as he sees him as an orc. He grabs Shosei by the throat, telling him to show him his number. Shosei asks what he's talking about, and then Sora snaps out of it realizing that he was mistaken and drops him. Shosei starts screaming and even straight pissed his pants. The rest run over, and we figure out that Shosei is their boss. Sora tells them to all get lost, and there was even an extra rogue there. Bro was useless. For some reason he just lets them leave, and Shosei does the typical third-rate line of "I'll remember this." Sonozaki says that his power is incredible, but his scars look awful, and she wonders who he is, saying that he can't be a monster summoned from the abyss by her scroll. Sora asks how many years it's been since the towers appeared. Panicked, she says it's been 5. He asks if this is really Earth and what was the scroll that she used, also why she is dressed weird. She then starts to explain that ever since the towers showed up, a system appeared to humans, now here they are. Sora asks if the world's truly changed this much in the 5 years he spent in the abyss. She tells him that S-City was hit by the 7th large invasion, and she fled from there. Sora says that's where he was born, and asks what the state is of the city now. She says it's been completely destroyed, but strong people have been sent there, so they should be able to slay the monsters. Sora asks how he gets there from where they are now, and she points in the direction, and he immediately leaves. She can't believe he's going alone. She says that he sure is a mysterious man, and she needs to tell her sister I bet she is one of the top guild masters. It then jumps to elsewhere with the third-rate villain gang, and something lands directly in front of them, shattering the ground. They ask who he is, and they say that they can sense his presence on them all, and that they will only give him 3 seconds, and they need to know where he is. They all start to feel terrified, but for some reason Shosei he asks if he's kidding, bro has no brain. They then get ripped apart in a second, and it jumps to their guild's headquarters. A woman says that there are no signs of life from the party of 4, and the whereabouts of Sonozaki and the scroll are unknown. A man calls her trash and breaks his wine glass. He says that he can't believe that the men she recommended can't beat one level 19 summoner, and that the signals all went out at the same time. He says he can't believe they were all killed in one hit as well, and he is level 118. His name is Richt Mukai. He tells someone else to go find out who did it, and to capture Sonozaki and make her explain herself. They say yes sir, and Mukai says that he'll kill anyone who lays his hand on his men. He then spots Sora leaping up past his window. He says that the smell of blood is incredible, asking who that was, and that he's heading towards a fallen zone. He says that this invasion is on a whole other scale, and there's no doubt that there are big forces in play, and that the tower that had been sleeping for 5 years is finally making its move. He then orders that all of his search parties need to fall back as this is an emergency. Sora continues heading towards the city until he finally reaches it, seeing it in ruin. He says in the 5 years he was stuck in the abyss, this place has turned into hell, but in the abyss, he who was weak and struggled with a goblin at first, slowly but surely, with each and every floor, progressively got stronger, and with his senses numbed, he nearly became a beast himself as he ate the monsters he killed. But the thought of his family kept him going. The monsters he once feared are now small fries, and he hopes that his family are safe at the very least. He says that S-City used to buzz with life, and now it's a wasteland. Every building shredded like the aftermath of a massive quake, yet they are all still standing. Weird. Still, there's no trace of monsters killing anyone. He says ever since the people were evacuated, nobody's supposed to live here. He grabs onto the door handle for his house, rips it straight off the hinges, and is surprised. He then slowly enters his home. He says that he knew the place would be empty, but he came anyway. After all, this place is full of happy memories for him. He then sees a letter on the table, asking what that is. It's his father saying that everybody says that Sora's dead, but he and his mother refuse to believe it. They grab his things and set them up exactly like in his old room, and they're sure he's going to come back. Sora starts crying manly tears, and he says they risked their lives to come back for him. They even laid out his favorite clothes from sizes S to large. That way, whenever he returns, he can slip into fresh drip. There's a map to Shelter 6 in the drawer. Once he reads this, he needs to come find them, as they will always be waiting for him. Love, Mom, and Dad. He starts crying while holding onto their family photos, and he wonders how strong he is right now. He then starts cutting his hair, saying that if he's tough enough to end this apocalypse, maybe he can reclaim the days that he lost. How did he cut the back of his head like that though? Bro is rocking that Sung Jin Woo haircut, and he says that he's going to follow the map, heading to Shelter 6, just like the map says. But the road is a complete wreck. But going his own way will be faster regardless, as he starts soaring through the air. A flying monster spots him and starts going for an attack, but he rips it apart. He then continues bouncing from monster to monster, clearing out the skies as he continues forward. Some nearby people ask what that sound was, and the other guy says he's just drunk, and that the man's guard duty is boring. They then sense something fly past them, and they ask what that was. The dude says he couldn't see it, and someone else says that he got it on camera. And they spot it, and he got an image of Sora soaring through the air. They then hear a woman yelling, telling nobody to get any closer, and that she only came to look for food. As she starts to get surrounded, they say that it's been a while since they've seen a woman, and the dude begins drooling, saying that they're good guys, and they'll take very good care of her. She says no, and they walk up, spreading their legs, telling her not to be scared, as he's going to be gentle, and that it would be a shame not to enjoy a body like hers as he starts grabbing her chest. Sora says some things never changed, and calls them trash. They ask who's there, saying that he's not going to get off easy if he butts in, and he tells his men to get them as they start charging towards Sora. Sora starts to release sheer wind pressure. He immediately goes in, slapping the hell out of one of them, and bro is probably dead. As the other guy comes in with his sword, Sora dodges beside it with the minimal required movement, grabbing onto his arm. He then knees the dude straight in the face. Mr. Molester asks who he is, saying that he's part of the Tigers War Guild. Of course, he is. Sora then says his name, and it's Eiji. To be honest, I didn't recognize him, my bad. He asks if he's already forgotten the face of the guy that he killed. He says there's no way, and recognizes him, and starts to crawl away, saying that's impossible. As Sora begins releasing hell of pressure, Eiji asks how he's alive, telling him to stay back. Sora laughs, and grabs him by the throat, saying that's right. He crawled his way up from the pits of hell, all because of him, and now it's his turn to go there, as he starts digging his fingers into his throat. Sora says that he's going to tear off every shred of dignity he has, and this is his power now. He hears multiple voices in his head, saying that they need to kill him, and that since he's the strongest, he should bend everything to his will. Sora says that all Eiji has ever done is torment him in the past. All he felt was humiliation and helplessness, and today he's going to give it all back. He remembers when he asked Eiji why he bullied him, and he says that it's because crushing him feels so damn good. Sora then snaps out of his rage, dropping him. Eiji begins coughing while grabbing onto his throat, and Sora says that he can't become the same as him. But if he leaves him be, he knows how bad that would be. Because he almost raped that woman, and more people would die if he leaves him alive. He says that he tried to kill him and failed, so he won't kill him, but he can't just let him walk away. Eiji asks what he's planning on doing. Sora says that for the 2 years he made his life at school a living hell, he'll give him one punch. For him constantly terrorizing the weak, that'll be another. For him trying to kill him by pushing him off the truck, that will be 2. If he takes 4 blows from him, they'll call it even. Eiji apologizes, saying that it's all his fault, and if he punches him the way he is now, he'll probably die from the first hit. Sora picks him up, telling him not to worry, and starts to rear back his fist, and hits him straight in the face, saying that he'll go easy on him. He then goes for the second punch, and we see his 2 boys are standing up now. Blood is splattered across the ground, as Sora hits him once more for the third punch, and then tells him to stand up as it's time for the last. Eiji begs for him to just kill him already, as we see his eyes are all busted up. Sora comes in with a kick straight to his head, slamming him into the ground. Bro's eyes actually exploded out of his head. Sora says that he did a little more than that, as he amputated all 4 of his limbs and made him completely blind, and this is about right. He tells his friends to take him to the hospital, and that they should never show their faces in front of him again as he leaps off. He says the cleanup is done, as it's time for him to get moving, and he wants to continue heading to Shelter 6. Elsewhere at the S-City buffer zone, we see some guards saying that they'll be on wall watch duty. And they are talking about how, at least out here, they don't have to actually fight monsters. Someone else tells them to stop being a wimp, and if monsters show up, they need to not freak out and fall off. They need to stay sharp, because there's no telling when one will appear. We introduce the first lieutenant named Tanji, and he is a level 31 commander. One of the privates named Shoki says that this is the buffer zone, and monsters barely show up here, flag spotted. And he is a level 22 warrior. He says that they'll be fine as long as they stay alert, only for him to die in the legit next panel. They say that a monster has appeared. It is called the Child of Kraken, and it is a level 45 shell-type monster. They start to get into formation, firing towards its shells, but the bullets deflect off. The monster gets pissed, and they realize that the weapons aren't working because of the high level difference. They ready themselves for its attack, and Tanji tells them that they all need to spread out. The first guy gets cut in half by just the first swing. His boy sees his friend flying through the air and gets pissed, and starts cursing at the monster, holding onto explosives. He runs in, saying that he's going to take it down. As they give him some covering fire, making the monster turn, he's now right under it with the explosive. It raises its tentacles into the air, going to slam down, but it stops to shy of their faces, and they wonder what's going on. As the monster starts to look scared, they wonder what's going on, and Tanji asks if it's really scared or if there's something else going on. The monster then completely starts to cover up its eye, and goes into a complete defensive stance. The guy says that he doesn't know what it's scared of, but this is his chance to avenge his friends. As he throws the explosive directly towards the monster, he yells, telling it to die, as it explodes, causing it to start to get engulfed by the flames. They wonder if they killed it, only for it to have done minimal damage. The monster then glares directly at them as the flames barely lasted for a few seconds, and they can't believe that it's pretty much unscathed. As it goes to attack and kill the man, Sora lands, crushing it under the weight of his landing, saving the soldier. The soldier is confused, and Tanji asks if this is the reason it was scared, and if it was all because of this man. I will do my personal thoughts, after I catch up to the series. If you've watched till the end, comment, VHS, to let me know. Subscribe for more videos like this, leave a like or a comment to help the channel out. Thanks for watching.